Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are changing things up a little bit from the last grouping of videos that I was posting. I was working on my cookbook journal. However, due to time constraints, I'm actually going to put that one on hold and start working on this one because this is my vintage autumn themed Victorian style journal that I wanted to try to finish before Thanksgiving. So the other one wasn't a real, I didn't really have a time frame on that one. I just had kind of wanted to do it. So I started it thinking that it was going to be easier than it was. And that one ended up being definitely more in depth than I had planned. So I'm hoping that this one can be done by November, which is only a couple weeks away. But I wanted to start filming it now, so that's what we're going to do. So if you are new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Give this video a big thumbs up so that you're notified whenever I post new videos. And so let's get started with this video. So first of all, I want to talk about my inspiration for this journal. Now, I found this vintage photograph at a thrift store and I thought it was a really cool photo. Let me take it out of the plastic here so you can see it as well. It's a print. Whoops. I think it's a reprint. I don't think it's an actual original photo. I'm pretty sure it's a reprint. But I just loved the look of it. I loved the authenticity of it. I loved the sepia coloring. I loved the expression on the man's face. It was just a really cool photo for me. I believe this is a backdrop that he's standing in front of. So I'm thinking that this was probably a staged photo or something like that. But anyways, I just thought this was really cool and I wanted to do something with it, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. So when I was kind of trying to come up with ideas on a journal for Thanksgiving time, I thought of this photo and I was like, you know what, this would be a perfect piece to kind of start my journal with. With that being said, I wanted to do more dark rustic colors. I wanted to incorporate like a lot of burgundies and jewel tones and just like really rich colors. So I did some exploring online and I printed out some background photos here of these beautiful roses, very muted, soft colors, a lot of the cranberry colors, a lot of the burgundy dark, like rose tone colors, lots of golds, little pops of orange in here, which gives it that fall vibe. But I thought that these, along with this photo, and then our previously dyed, wine dyed fabric would be a perfect starting point for this journal. So this is where I started. I have yet to do any other work other than brainstorming on this yet. I kind of threw some papers together based off of these three pieces, and so this is what I have. So whenever I do journals, which it's been a while since I've completed a full journal. I used to do journaling a lot. And it's so funny because I know people call it junk journaling now, but I was junk journaling 25 years ago. I actually made a junk journal for my wedding book. I did like a whole journal basically, and it was a junk journal. And that was 25 years ago, something like that. So I've been doing it for a long time. And I get the question, you know, oh, did you just start doing it? And my answer is no, I definitely didn't just start doing it, but I just started filming it. I've mostly filmed DIY videos and crafting videos, but I've done very little filming on my paper crafting. And I do a lot of paper crafting. I love paper crafting. So I thought this year, you know, I wanted to really do much more paper crafting and sharing it on my YouTube. As far as this journal goes, this is what I laid out for supplies that I want to use in this journal. So I did have a vintage book. It's a nice size. I didn't even check to see what the dimensions of this one is, but like when I hold it in my hands, it's a nice size. It's not too big and it's not too small, and it's fairly thick so that I can fit multiple signatures inside it. So I'm thinking 3 signatures. The width is about 5.5 by 8.25. So it's a perfect size. And so we're going to use this as our cover. So we'll be taking this apart, probably not in this video, maybe. We'll see what we have for time. But that is our journal base. And then I also picked out some signature papers that I want to use. So we'll go over those real quickly as well. So this was some of that wine dyed yarn, and I thought the colors would be perfect in this journal to incorporate this somewhere, not sure where yet. So kind of like the theming for this, I want to have this be a fall, autumn, Thanksgiving themed journal. So I want to incorporate like woodland animals. I want to incorporate owls and, you know, fall birds. And I want to incorporate fall flowers and foliage. I also want to keep it on the darker, kind of more mellow side, like this photo right here. When I was looking for papers, that's what I was kind of looking for, was kind of things that were going to work well with that scheme. Out of my stash, I just grabbed a few of these lined sheets of paper. It's just more of a aged looking lined paper. It's meant to look aged, it's not old. Also, I did pull out some envelopes. I love to use envelopes, so I'm going to use these 2 smaller size envelopes. I have a few card envelopes that are in this kind of like golden tone, which I'll probably use a couple of these in each signature. And then I have the wine dyed envelopes that I did. And so I definitely want to use these because the colors and the way that the wine dyed this in this pattern is so fun and so different. So I definitely want to incorporate those. Here's some more of that wine dyed packing paper. This didn't pull that wine color like the other paper did, but it almost gave it an aged kind of green look to it. So we'll use some of that. And then this is just some cardstock. It's got like a little imprint on one side, and then it's just flat on the other, and it's in that very deep cranberry color, which if you look at this photo, it will pull some of those deep cranberry colors in these flowers. Here is some wrapping paper. I got this wrapping paper from Amazon. It came in a pack with multiple different pieces, and I've been doing some decoupage on some of my canisters that I have here. I'm gonna do a tour. Actually, somebody requested it. Somebody requested that I do a tour of my workstation area. I had posted some pictures on Instagram that I had updated and organized my workstation here, and somebody wanted me to do a tour of what I did. So I might do a video of that. But I made these little, these are actually tea canisters, and I found these at a local store that we have here in Sarasota. It's called the Sunflower Market. It's kind of like an Ocean State Job Lot or Big Lots. It's kind of like that, but they have they have a whole section of like foods that are I don't know, they're like just different stuff, like overstock type stuff, and they have tins of tea there. So they were only 99 cents for a full tin of tea with all the tea bags and everything. So I bought a few of them, and I I decoupaged the exterior of the tin with this wrapping paper. It's not this exact one, but it's one that came in this series. There's like 5 different prints of wrapping paper that came in the grouping. But I did this one right here that have these kind of like brown tones with greens and mustardy yellows and little pops of pink, which a lot of the things in my house are more muted. So I thought this would be a good color. And so, yeah, I wanted to just show that I use this use this paper in some other projects that I've been doing around my house lately. So yes, I found this one, which the colors are more muted in this one, and I think the colors will work better with my inspiration photos here. So I might use this in some of my pages. Also, this is a vintage notepad, a vintage executive notepad. So I will probably use a few of these lined pieces of paper. And I definitely want to use some of my wine dyed doilies that I have here. And they just came out super pretty. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see the coloring. I feel like this is such a hard color to pick up on camera, but the coloring on here is just a muted mauve-y color, which I love. I love that. I love that color because it works so well with the theme that I'm doing. Okay, here's another piece of the wine dyed cardstock. So this is the cardstock. This was the same thing. I might use both of these pages actually. This is more of an ivory color. This is actually from a vintage old stock of cardstock that I had found at a thrift store. And there was 2 packs of them, and they were definitely older. They weren't new cardstock. They'd been sitting around, and the packaging you could tell was older. So I'm going to use one of the ivory color and also one of the wine dyed in this folder, or in this journal as well. Okay, so then a few other things that I want to use are, I have some other vintage fabrics that I've picked up along the way. I found this really pretty, I think it's a placemat, but it's like a woven, I don't know if it is a placemat or not. I'm honestly not really sure. I don't know if it's like it goes like a small little table doily or exactly what it is. It might even be a napkin. I feel like it's a little too big to be a napkin, but it's in this just nice woven material. And I thought this was really nice. It would match well with the other items that I'm putting in this journal. So I might be able to use pieces of this in bookmarks or in tags or something like that. So I wanted to use some of that. And then this is a tea towel. This is a vintage tea towel, and the colors are like perfect. They're like a gold, black, and kind of like an off green color on this, and that is just so fun for this project. So I'm going to use some of that, and then just some other pieces of paper, and I'm probably going to be adding a lot to this as well, but this was just stuff that I picked out of my collection that I have here right now. This is some natural paper, some handmade paper with some fibers in it. Again, very muted, kind of gold tones to that one. So then I have some small squares of scrapbook paper, and I just kind of went through my collection just to pull a few pieces out that would work with my color schemes that I'm going to use. And I have this really, like, this works perfectly. It's a plaid, but it's a very muted colors. It does have that that mauve-y color background. There's some gold tones, there's some rust tones, there's a little bit of green in there, but I have a couple pages of that, so those will be in this journal. This almost looks like faux leather. I think it's supposed to be like a Baroque or something. It almost looks like it's a floral background, but if you're looking at it quickly, it almost looks like a leather. And the color on that is like a camel color. Then there's some vintage pages here. This one looks like it's a vintage map or an old antique map. And then this one is some sheet music. And I love the little horse, the lady on the horse with the barn in the background there. And this has a really cool old like oak tree. You can see there's like a southern oak in the background back there, and then some words. And then here is more. Oh, here's another one. Let's do these ones. This one has a nice dark background with some writing. So just really nice like background pieces for pockets and for tags and for embellishments. There's another piece of that camel colored leather looking paper. More plaid. This one definitely has a little bit more green, but again, it still has that mauve-y background, which is nice. Almost gives it a gray look. There's another one as well. It's so muted. It's almost like a very muted green, but it almost looks gray or black. So I like these. All right, and then I had some cards I went through. I actually got a whole stack of vintage cards from Goodwill bins. And it's so funny what people don't buy at the Goodwill bins. They'll pass over, and like, I will see something and I'll be like, how did this not get snatched up? And I guess just people look for different things there. But there was a whole basket full of vintage cards, and I picked it up and definitely took all of it home and the basket. The basket is literally full of vintage cards. So these were a few of them that were in there. This one is a little bit more springy, but I liked the color scheme in here, so I might be able to add some other embellishments to this to tone it down a little bit. The colors were right. And the same for this one. Both of these were from kind of the same set of cards, but they're both kind of spring-like cards, but the colors work with my scheme. Then this one was definitely like a fall abstract floral card, so that would be really fun. I loved this one when I saw it. It's you know, just a basket sitting on a desk with some flowers and some embellishments and some knickknacks and stuff, and it doesn't really go with the theme that I'm doing, but I liked it and the colors worked, so I might try to make it work somehow. And here's another abstract photo or card of these trees. Beautiful muted colors, very fall looking, so that one will work. And then I think I might have showed this one in another video, I can't remember. But the colors in here are perfect. The background, I will probably cut this out and not use the background, the abundant blessings of Thanksgiving. Although the words are cool, I can probably incorporate that somewhere. It was basically the flower arrangement here that I really liked. I liked those colors. And then just some scraps. So those are the pieces that I'm starting with this journal. And so yes, I think I'm going to end this video right now. Make sure you subscribe so that way you are, and also make sure your notifications are turned on so that way you're notified when I post new videos. But if you subscribe, then you can follow along with the process of this journal. Our next video, I will be taking this book apart and we will be starting the binding and the cover of our journal. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care, and we will see you real soon.